Hey guys, it's the average violinist here, and today, back in the new video, slightly later in the day because I cannot keep a consistent upload schedule. Anyways, getting stuck right into it, we're doing something slightly different today. Still VTuber, still Hololive, but this time it's in the EN branch. Today it will be Calliope Mori? Calliope Mori, I think that's how it's said. End of a life, so I believe this will be in English, or at least have English subtitles, I hope. And let's get stuck right into it, shall we?
We'd run
Okay, English.
right through those nights. I'll never find my way back to you. Inside this labyrinth of light, there was madness in the meaning, never laughed less. We were screaming at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city never died. I'll fly no through those heights. I'll never find another chance to say thanks for saving my life. I was hopeless, it was stinging, running roadless. We were singing at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city never died. What was the root of it all? I couldn't say. Used to jump and then fall, rugged and cliched. Would shrug it off without complaint, not a sound. I used to try to find friends, cause in the end nobody sticks around. It's when you shoved yourself into a crowded place that you turned around and found yourself in love in outer space. Cue the reckless nights, no strings, laughing at our own dreams. Just what the hell was so funny? Bark up the wrong tree, stumble, used to fall in great heights amidst a concrete jungle, singing cause it felt right. We mixed the ennui and troubles, rhyming our discontent. To know its history, I can't forget the time that we spent, convinced that this could mean another end exists between real and pretend. A twisted alter fiction where I missed my chance to not ascend and disappearing into the mist. It never happened, is the me that I can never befriend. I let it go, fade in, fade out. This crazy dream without a direction, floating aimlessly. There's nothing left back there for me. Breathe in, but it won't stop the rain from pouring. Run right through those nights. I'll never find a way back to you. Inside this labyrinth of light, there was madness in the meaning, never laughless. We were screaming at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city never died, but was there ever a soul inside? Chasing fireflies between the soaring high rises, left a trail behind to find a wasted time of our lives. Silent singer, overworked and underpaid, inks and opposites, a coffin until office where you're laid. Yet a thought persistent optimist who ought to be afraid. Saw that nothing wrong in writing songs behind the lonely shade. Is the world a sadder place without the words that you conveyed? When the ladder fell and shattered every bar that we had played. Does it matter in the end? The sound diminished and decayed, and your friends grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they had stayed. You don't get to say I miss you. You watch your heroes fade into the rear view mirror of the villain you portrayed. Stop the pity party. Listen, you don't get to be dismayed. You don't get to be emotional. Feel blessed you got it made. These the festive years of life because you chose to make a trade. Recollect the days you hoped and you prayed for this. What is that a mess? Fade in, fade out. This is a dream without a direction, roaming aimlessly. There's nothing left back there for me. Pretend it's the end of a made-up story. Fly no through those heights. I'll never find another chance to say, hey, thanks for saving my life. I was hopeless, Waking up now to my real life. Let me daydream. So the next flight, drowning so long, I got older. Now the crowd's gone. Is it over? Is it over?
Very good. What can I say? That is a beautiful piece of music. Whew. It really is an emotional piece of music, I believe, from Mori. And as far as I know from her personality, she's not someone to actually write out something like this, or isn't her genre isn't typically like this. She is a rapper to my knowledge, so she has more violent, not violent, but more energetic. She typically does rap songs, which obviously aren't acoustic as much as this one is. Right, let's get into analysis then. We're going to go from the very start. That was one lesson through, and it sounded amazing. First thing I will point out, a lot of probably more, how to describe it, more music classicalists, not like people who play classical music, that includes me, but more people who are music purists, I guess, or people who complain about modern day music, say it's very repetitive. This would be one of the examples of them saying this is repetitive, and I cannot deny there's a good amount of repetition used here. It's used a lot, but in my opinion, in this case, it wasn't used in a bad way. It's an emotional piece of music. It works. It sounds good. That is the point of music, to express yourself to other people. There is no right or wrong way to do it. But I will say, yes, this does use a lot of repetitions. The first thing that will stick out to me, because as a musician, at my point in my music education, you're told a lot that repetition isn't something you should use too much or overuse. So first thing that sticks out to me, maybe a tad too much repetition for my liking, but still it doesn't really affect the music in any way. Well, any big harmful way to it. Anyways, go from the start. And I can analyze the lyrics this time, or try and interpret them, or, we'll see how we do. Right.
We'd run right through those nights. I'll never find my way back to you. Inside this labyrinth of light, there was madness in the meaning. Never laughed less. We were screaming at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city never died.
Pause. 22 seconds, yeah? First, kind of half verse, I can't mind. So we start out with we run right through those nights. I'll never find my way back to you.
There was night.
In the labyrinth of lights, there was madness in the meaning. That is a reference to a quote that can I not get from the tip of my tongue. That is a reference to a quote. There's madness in the meaning. This is a very deep, the lyrics are definitely very important in this, and of course, I can't actually tell what that says in the bottom. Tient Idol Ultra or something maybe relating to idol culture for VTubers, because Japanese idol culture and all that. But taking into account the title of the song, End of a Life, you can already tell it's gonna be kind of a sad song.
We'd run right through.
This might be describing Callie's past of some sort.
I'll never find my way back to you inside this
labyrinth of lights could be referring to a city, big city of some sort, or giant. When you think labyrinth of lights, the first thing I picture with this song would be something like a high-rise city with all these lights at evening, nighttime.
Labyrinth of lights, there was
madness. That is an iPod of some sort, or some kind of media MP3 player.
In the meaning.
Madness in the meaning could be describing her past. There's some madness in the meaning. I mean, people my age, or even younger than I am, or even slightly older than I am, we do some pretty stupid things, and maybe in the future, I know a lot of people reflect on it. I reflect on the stupid things I did as a kid. There was madness in the meaning. I think this was where there's meaning in the madness. I think that is the reverse. There is meaning in the madness. So you did something crazy, but there was a reason you did it. In this case, it's flipped. You've got madness in the meaning. So maybe you did something that seemed normal at the time, but now you think you're a bit mad to do it.
Never laughed less. We were screaming
Never laugh less.
at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city.
We were screaming at the top of our lungs.
Never laughed less. We were screaming at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This
city never died. I just noticed that passport says Underworld. Oh, oh, I just realized the design. Yeah, Callie being the Reaper and all that. Nice wee bit there.
Never laughless.
Never laughless. That's pretty obvious line. Always laughing at the time.
We were screaming at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city never died.
We were screaming at the top of our lungs. Could be some kind of party. Or could just describe her past, you know, as a young person, you'd be screaming at the top of your lungs, going to raves, doing everything exciting. Not screaming in the bad way, screaming in a good way, in a happy way. This city never died. Maybe the previous place she lived was big city or some sort. This is clearly a personal story. This song is all about Callie's life and probably how she possibly regrets leaving it, or this is to mark the end of that. It feels like she needs to move on. I don't know. We'll keep going. I just realized I have not commented on the music at all. I've just commented on the lyrics. We're going to go through the music this time.
We'd run.
Music. Instant. First, it's Callie's voice, piano, chord.
Right through
very beautiful piano, very simple melody.
I'll never find my way back to you inside this labyrinth of light. There was madness in the meaning, never laughless. We were screaming at the top of our lungs.
Very simple melody. Something that you would, you know, as a pianist, you would, like, I could probably, I'm not saying this is obviously discrediting this, but it's something that you would, you know, as a pianist, you would possibly play by yourself when you're bored at the piano, and you know, how about I play a bit of a sad song? So you play the higher notes, you put a chord down, play some higher notes, put a chord down, play the higher notes. This is basically that. It's like, you know, if you're messing about on a piano, you're kind of sad, you're just kind of going to your piano and just playing about with it. This case is obviously thought out. It's completely thought out, but it just gives that feeling of sadness when you know you've got nothing to do, and maybe as other pianists can relate, where you just mess about on the piano for a little bit, just see what you can come up with.
He never died. I'll fly, no
Strings.
Those heights. I'll never find another chance to say thanks for saving my life. I was hopeless, it was stinging, running roadless. We were singing at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city never died.
Right, that's the next verse. I'll fly, no proof.
Those heights. I'll never find another chance to say thanks for saving my life. I was hopeless.
Alright. I'll fly, no proof.
No proof. Those heights.
Right. This could possibly be talking about some sort of, you know, suicide. Or, you know, something really darkly themed here. With I'll fly with no proof. Obviously, this is trying to fly without, you know, without thinking about it properly. Obviously, and you know, even though we may fly a lot, you know, in airplanes and these things, or using drones to fly, something that you do have to think about a lot. It's something that you have to have a lot of proof, a lot of engineering, a lot of math, a lot of logic, physics. I'll fly with no proof, and then the line, those heights.
Those heights. I'll
never find another chance to say thanks. Yeah, hey, thanks for saving my life. Clearly this is about somebody saving Callie at the time, you know, helping her get out of that low point in her life of some sort.
For saving my life, I was hopeless.
That was hopeless.
It was stinging.
Life was stinging, or something was stinging.
Running road.
Moving endlessly onward without a goal in sight.
We're singing at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city never died.
Same line as before as the first verse, but this time with a different connotation. The first time it was a bit sad. The first time round when you used this line, it was like, oh right, okay, she's talking about being slightly sad, you know, moving on from this time where I was screaming at the top of my lungs and it was laughless. But this time it's by putting the first bit into the verse, it gives this second line repeat a deeper meaning, or a different meaning, a much more somber meaning. But this is an evidence of repetition where it's used really well. You know, this is lyrical repetition. You've got lyric being moved over, but it's being given something new. It's being given different understanding or different meaning behind it. Now we're gonna take a quick look at the accompaniment for this. Got a riser, got strings being added, very basic long notes. Piano still playing things playing C things like the start. Into the rapping section.
What was the root of it all? I couldn't say. Used to jump in that fall, rugged and cliched. Would shrug it off without complaint, not a sound. I used to try to find friends, cause in the end nobody sticks around. It's when you shoved yourself into a crowded place that you turned around and found yourself in love in outer space. Cue the reckless nights, no strings, laughing at our own dreams. Just what the hell was so funny? Back up the wrong trees.
Right. I'm going to split that into two because it will be too long. Right.
What was the root of it all?
What was the root of all? What was the reason behind what I did all this crazy stuff for that she just mentioned, or is looking back upon? I couldn't say. Basically, not saying. I don't know what the heck I was thinking at that point. I was just doing, you know, what I was doing.
Used to jump and then fall.
Used to jump and then fall, rugged and cliched. Maybe took a leap of faith, did some crazy stuff. Got roughed up because of it, wasn't successful. It was a very cliched thing that happened, possibly.
Would shrug it off without
complete.
Not a sound. I used to try to find friends, cause in the end nobody sticks around.
Very pessimistic lyric. In the end, nobody sticks around.
Would shrug it off without complaint.
Would shrug it off without complaint. Trying to put out a tough act, not a song. Not telling anybody. No use in trying to find friends. Because nobody sticks around. I mean, pessimistic. This is probably her vocalizing one of the probably lowest points in her life, because most people don't think like this unless they're pushed into a very, very deep corner.
Nobody sticks around. It's when you shoved yourself into a crowded place that you turned around and found yourself in love.
It's when you
shoved yourself into a crowded place that you turned around and found yourself in love in outer space.
Could be referring to her going to a rave. Clearly there is a rave going on in the background. So there's probably more evidence to say she was the screaming line, screaming at the top of her lungs, talking about in a rave or a party or some sort in a city. And outer space. Probably you enjoy the quiet moments more when you get to a rave. As something I'm personally attached to, I've been to many parties, you know. Many 18ths where people are absolutely going mad in the bar is packed, or other things like in similar situations the house is packed. You don't really learn to appreciate being by yourself until you're within this big crowd. It's the same concept as the grass is always greener on the other side. What you have you don't appreciate, what you don't have you don't appreciate. So you have this crowd, you have all these people around you. You're like this is kind of, yeah, I want to go into a corner by myself and chill for a bit. You always wish you could do that, but you might get dragged around more. But then when you're at home, you're by yourself. COVID, for example, you were isolated by yourself. You wanted to go out to party. You didn't appreciate that you're alone, but this grass is always greener on the other side kind of concept. Cue the reckless. Cue the reckless lights. English. Cue the reckless nights, no strings, laughing at our own dreams. Cueing reckless nights. Every young person is reckless, or is typically reckless of some sort. When you get older, you will always be less reckless. No strings attached. Shortened, not literally no strings, but no strings attached. Nothing, no consequences. Not caring about the consequences. Laughing at our own dreams. Sure, plenty of people our age have great dreams, and maybe they'll laugh at them when, they're not thinking straight. They're like, oh, this is near impossible, but to get. Well, impossible to achieve. Just what the hell was so funny. Retrospective look. Just what the hell was so funny. I would even argue against that to my past self. Just what was so funny about that. So, she's kind of looking at her pessimistic past and kind of being pessimistic at her pessimistic past. Need to go back. That's the next verse. Now we're gonna take the music of this first bit of rap. So from here we went from the nice quiet piano with some synthetic strings and a slowly moving synth, just long notes and synth strings and the synth electronic synth kind of thing. I cannot describe it.
What was the root of it all? I couldn't say. Used to jump and I fall, rugged and cliched. Would shrug it off without complaining, not a sound. Used to try to find friends, cause in the end nobody sticks around. It's when you shove yourself into a crowded place that you turned around and found yourself in love in outer space. Cute reckless nights, no strings, laughing at our own dreams. Just what the hell was so funny? Back up the wrong tree, stumble, used to fall and
Okay, so that we can just hear a bit of violin, but we're moving on to the next verse. Lyrics.
trees. Just what the hell was so funny? Back up the wrong tree, stumble, used to fall in great heights amidst the concrete jungle, singing cause it felt right. We mixed the ennui and troubles, rhyming our discontent. To know its history, I can't forget the time that we spent. Convinced that this could mean another end exists between real and pretend. Twisted alter fiction where I missed my chance to not ascend and disappearing into the mist. It never happened, is the me that I can never befriend. I let it go.
Alright, okay. Very, very, very big chunk to digest here. I'll comment first actually on the instrumental. Not too much has changed. It's a bit by bit. If we actually look at it, it's bit by bit. Started off just piano, and then piano with electric synth strings, and then drum kit, and now we've got moving on to a quick comment of drum kit with the prominent strings coming back again. Bit of a more lyrical sense. Still very, very long notes, but just a single string. Just bum, bum, bum. It's just very basic. We're adding stuff in layers.
Just what the hell was so funny? Bark up the wrong tree, stumble, used to fall in great.
Right, bark up the wrong tree, stumble, used to falling from great heights. Bark up the wrong tree, took the wrong path, shouldn't have jumped up that, shouldn't have went that way, made a mistake, used to stumbling, falling, failing to do something, used to fall in great heights. Not, she knows what it felt like to, fail from putting a lot of effort into failing. She knows what this feels like. Amidst the concrete jungle, further reinforcing the fact that she's probably referring to a city, especially with the city background of this image. Amidst the concrete jungle, big high-rise skyscrapers made of concrete.
Jungle singing cause it felt right.
Singing cause it felt right. Probably this is where she discovered her passion for singing, possibly, or rapping.
We mixed the
ennui and troubles. Now, I'm going to need to Google this. I want to double check the meaning of irony before I screw up the meaning. But this is actually something, quick comment on. Rappers, especially with Callie's kind, they just have this way with words. They take the most, like, irony, you would never use this word, this would be a very rare word to use, but they use it because it works, and it probably means something. Irony, the feeling of listlessness and dissatisfaction arising from a lack of occupation or excitement. Okay. Listless and dissatisfaction arising from the lack of occupation or excitement. I could probably replace it with we mixed listlessness and troubles. She was, sad, probably, depressed in a word.
Falling great heights amidst the concrete jungle, singing cause it felt right. We mixed the ennui and troubles, rhyming our discontent.
She's a rapper. She was singing. She was probably singing at this time about her dissatisfaction, listlessness, about not having probably a proper career. Rhyming our discontent, literally putting in, this is what music is for. A perfect example. Putting your dissatisfaction, your sadness, your happiness, your emotion into your music. At this point, clearly that emotion is sadness, discontent, dissatisfaction, listlessness, all being put into this. Though it's history, I cannot forget the time that we spent. Clearly she's, again, reinforcing the retrospective look. I can't forget the time that we spent. Memories. Cannot forget, the time that we spent. She's probably referring to friends, a friend. Or should she be referring to the music? I can't forget the time that we spent. She's referring to we as in her and the music. That's also something, considering she did just say friends don't last forever and friends don't come to the end. She could be referring to the music here. Let me just look.
The wrong tree stumble, used to fall in great heights amidst the concrete jungle, singing cause it felt right. We mixed the ennui and trouble.
Remix the on it. Yeah, again, referring to the we.
Just rhyming our discontent and know it's history. I can't forget the time that we
I can't forget the time that we spent. So she's definitely not using we in a rapping or in a liberal art kind of thing. To as a rapper, you know, sometimes they replace the I with we to make something specifically rhyme or make something sound good. In this case, she's definitely referring to someone or something else. I can't forget the time that we spent. So I think in this case she's referring to the music. I can't forget the time that we spent, which, you know, music is for every musician. It doesn't matter what kind of musician you are. Music's a very integral part of your entire existence. So this is probably a referral to, sure, I've forgotten, I've went past this, but now looking back on it, I can't forget the time that we spent together. You know, her and the music, crafting stuff together, being able to express herself through that really dark time in her life.
convinced that this could mean another end exists between real and history. I can't forget the time that we spent.
Convinced that this could mean. Wait, did I skip a lyric?
In troubles, rhyming our discontent, and though it's history, I can't forget.
And though it's history, that's the only line I missed. Again, referring back to the retrospective.
The time that we spent. Convinced that this could mean another end.
Convinced that this could mean another end that exists between real and pretend. Ooh.
And though it's history, I can't forget the time that we spent.
Convinced that this could mean another.
This could mean another end
exists between real and pretend. Right. This could be very, very.
know it's history. I can't forget the time that we spent. Convinced that this could mean
another end.
Another end exists between.
Okay, she's definitely talking about some kind of branching off of her life of sorts, a possible alternate future, an alternate past. Exists between real and pretend is what reinforces that. Something that isn't real. It's somewhere between real and somewhere not between complete, you know, complete fiction. Something that's 100% real and something that's not real. Somewhere in between that. Just, you know, alternate time, alternate timeline. It's not real and it's not completely made up. It's just a different possibility.
History, I can't forget the time that we spent.
Convinced that this could be another end. She's convinced herself that this probably meant that there's a different ending for where she's at now. She's in Hololive, but she's convinced that now this could mean another end, some other kind of path that she could have taken besides Hololive. I can't really read into this too much because I don't know enough about her to justify anything about this. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't know exactly what the lyrics mean. It's only Callie that would properly know, the person who wrote out the lyrics, who would 100% know what they're trying to convey with the lyrics.
This could mean another end exists between real and pretend. Twisted alter fiction where
a twisted alter fiction, which I missed my chance. It did not ascend. Okay, she's referring to her Hololive career, I believe.
Convinced that this could mean another end exists between real and pretend.
Yeah, exists between a twisted alter fiction. Twisted altered timeline.
Fiction where
fiction meaning fake, alter fiction, different timeline. She's definitely, I think she's 100% referring to "Missed my chance, did not ascend." I don't know how popular Callie was as a person, because obviously we don't know who the previous identities of some of these VTubers are. I missed my chance, did not ascend. She's referring to probably her joining Hololive. Missed my chance, did not ascend. She's probably convinced in the past that there was this point before she joined Hololive that now she looks back, there's this possibility she didn't join Hololive. There's an alternate timeline where she didn't, you know, she missed her chance to make it big and become a Hololive member. As Mori Calliope didn't ascend because she's very popular. She's got millions of subscribers, millions of views across her channel. Did not ascend. She's clearly referring to her ascent in Hololive. I don't know what that relates to as what her career was before. She seemed to be some kind of city singer, city rapper, or someone that is in the city and did a lot of live gigs. And as a musician, that's tough. I can definitely say that. It's hard to make money as a musician, especially in the city. It's very difficult. You don't have any opportunities, and those that you do, you don't get paid too much for them, or you don't get too much recognition for them. Disappearing into the mist of never happened.
Never happened is the me that
I can never befriend. Okay. Ooh. This will be hard too. This might flip some stuff I've just said earlier.
Where I missed my chance to not ascend to disappearing into the mist.
Disappearing to the mist of never happened. Disappearing into, you know, the past of never happened. Quote unquote never happened, so it's kind of like made this mist. She's kind of put up this figure of speech mist and saying everything that's never ever happened or stuff that could have happened but didn't happen goes in here. She's saying this is also just kind of disappeared off there. It's the me that I can never befriend. She probably thinks about it a lot, considering the reason she's written the song. She's probably thinking about this a lot. It's the me that I can never befriend. She probably wants to partially want to meet that other possible timeline of herself if she didn't make it into Hololive. She's curious probably about, you know, what would have happened if I didn't join Hololive? What happened if I didn't take this chance? Would I still be a city singer? Would I have made it big elsewhere? She's probably very, very curious about what else could have possibly happened in her life. I let it go. She's probably at this point now thought I probably should stop thinking about this too much because it's not healthy. It's always good to have a retrospective, but it's not good to be fixated on it.
Fade in, fade out, this crazy dream without a direction, floating aimlessly. There's nothing left back there for me. Breathe in, but it won't stop the rain from pouring.
Right. What's it there from pouring? We'll stop it there and we'll go back. Fade in, fade out. I think this is mostly artistic. Probably doesn't mean too much besides her going back in, thinking about it, going out of thinking about it, going back to thinking about it. Just intermittent periods of, you know, daydreaming. Crazy dream. Daydreaming. This crazy dream of her meeting her past self in her alternate timeline, which is a crazy dream, I guess you could describe it. Floating aimlessly without direction, possibly dreaming about it, possibly daydreaming about it, floating aimlessly about it. Just she doesn't have a goal when she's thinking about this. She's not specifically aiming for something. She's just thinking of the possibilities. There's no end concrete goal at the end of all this dreaming and daydreaming. There's nothing left back there for me. It's the past. You can't change it. There's no point in thinking about it too much. So she's kind of grappling with herself at this point. She's thinking about it a lot, but she knows she shouldn't be, and she knows she's like there's no point in doing it, but she's still doing it anyway. Breathe in, but it won't stop the rain from pouring. This could be referring to herself crying over it. The rain from pouring. Breathe in, calm yourself, breathe in, take a big deep breath, but it won't stop the rain from pouring. It won't stop me from crying. Possibly. I'm not going to be 100% confident in that one, but could be that. Stop the rain from pouring. Before we go into the chorus. Instrumental. Where I missed my chance to not ascend to disappearing into the mist of never happened. Just a hint of doubling of voice harmony. Just enters at the line of. Missed my chance to not ascend. Still here. It's still missed my chance. Disappearing. On the word disappearing, she goes from a single voice to having a lyric. Discontent to know its history. I can't forget the time that we spent. Convinced that this could mean another end exists between real and pretend. Twisted up. End of the lines. Doubling of voice. Slightly delayed. There's the proper point double. Just hold up voices. Got this gaming kind of effect going on in the background there. Whatever that rippling effect is. We've got very, very dissonant piano. This is very, very dissonant. Similar to what, it's the same melody being played at the start, but now with a lot of dissonance added in between, a bit of harmony, a bit of dissonance, a bit of clashing. There's about like 4 or 5 voices of herself harmonizing there, It gives this really nice effect. Very trebly drum. Thin, very thin. Very background. Ooh, what else is that there I heard? Anyways, moving on, where the music is very much becoming into its own self. It's just that moment, like those few seconds, 15 seconds there, a lot of stuff got added into the instrumental. It stopped being very plain build up, and now we've got all this extra harmony, extra voice, extra synths, rippling effects. All this is being added within the last 15 seconds. Moving on to the chorus. Okay, I'm not going to comment too much. Those were the exact same lyrics used at the start, just very embellished now with big chorus. Everything sounds big and nice. But that last line. But was there ever a soul inside? She's now going back again, so this is to say maybe a second time a representation of her after going through this multiple times. Like she said, she's done this multiple times, she's daydreamed about this multiple times, but now she's added this question, but was there ever a soul inside? Back then when she was singing The City, when she was just maybe a small singer or a pub singer, a bar singer, someone that's small that does a live gig every so often, live music, was there ever a soul inside? Did she ever really enjoy it? Did she have her soul in her music? She's questioning that now, because obviously she can't go back there 100% and know exactly what she was feeling at the time. Because even now, she said earlier, I was doing reckless stuff. I don't know what I was thinking. It was crazy. Anyways, now I'm going to take big chorus music. Well, I think I heard some nice brass. Very nice, big thumping drum. It's a very faded solo, but you have to listen really closely to the right side. The strings are still there, the strings are very dark, very faded. Double line of the brass, saxophone I believe that is. Okay, you got some doubling brass there, starting with the saxophone. I think that's 2 saxophones added on. She's still got the layered voice this time. She kept the layered voice from the last bit. Next bit here. Chasing fireflies between the soaring high rises, left a trail behind to find a wasted time of our lives. Silent singer, overworked and underpaid. Exit opposites, a coffin until office where you're laid. Yet a thought persistent optimist who ought to be afraid. Saw the nothing wrong in writing songs behind a lowly shade. Is the world a sadder place without the words that you conveyed? When the ladder fell and shattered every bar that we had. Alright, okay. Very deep part here. Very, very new there. Got them bouncing off, kind of. You kind of got this weird effect of the speeding city, but like split in half and opening, butterflying outward. Doubling the voices. Find a wasted time of our lives. Fireflies between the soaring high rises, left a trail behind to find a wasted time of our lives. Chasing fire. Between the soaring high rises, left a trail behind to find a wasted time. Right. This is a very. My memory is terrible. Chasing fireflies between the soaring high rises, left a trail behind to find a wasted time of our lives. Chasing fireflies. Fireflies are associated with, an unreachable dream. You can't catch them. If you catch them, when you catch them, they've got this light. Fireflies, they emit this light, this warm light that it's been portrayed throughout different kinds of media, books, TV shows, media, YouTube videos, fireflies, or animation. It's always been, when it's in a fictional story, it's always been a nice warm light, giving comfort. chasing fireflies, chasing warmth and comfort from, you know, the light.
Between
the soaring high rises, again, pointing out that we're in the middle of a city, where bright lights everywhere, bright harsh lights, especially with the if you look at the animation, or not the animation, but the video in the background, got those parallel cut. It's like I think about a quarter of that is one, and then it's flipped upside down, and it's flipped in half, flipped up to the side. So we've got these harsh, bright white lights. So between soaring high rises, big, tall skyscrapers with harsh, bright white lights compared to the warmth of a firefly, natural light.
left a trail behind to find a wasted.
Left a trail behind to find it, wasted time of our lives. What could that be? Left a trail to find it, wasted time of our lives. When you leave a trail, you leave a trail behind. Her past probably is one. She probably went back to the city probably at some point. To find it, wasted time of our lives. I can't tell if she's defining that now or in the past. Does she define it now? But does she define it now as a wasted time of her life? At that point in that time, did she define a wasted time? Did she decide at that point back in the past that this is 100%, I'm going to consider this a wasted time of our lives at the time of the past, and now she's talking about it now in the future? I can't really tell. Bit difficult to interpret, but I'm going to go with her past to find it a wasted time of the life. So her in the past at that point thought, me at this point now, this is definitely going to be seen as a wasted time of my life.
Time of our lives, silent singer overworked.
Silent singer, overworked, underpaid. So relatable as a musician. Overworked, underpaid. I mean, most professions are like that. Overworked, underpaid. Musicians, in general, in the modern day struggle. They always have, not even just the modern day. You look at the past. Famous composers like Mozart, Beethoven, Handel. A good chunk of those guys died alone. People know them for creating great music, but they were poor. They struggled to make ends meet. They spent hours and hours, and just trying to compose these great works that we know today. And they died poor. I think Mozart and a few others died in a pauper's grave, which is like an unmarked grave. They don't have a headstone. They couldn't afford. Their family couldn't afford to, pay for a gravestone at the time. Even compared to the modern day worker, modern day musician, it's hard to make money. It's hard to find a job, even for me as a musician. You don't get paid a lot. You get overworked. You work a lot. You put a lot of hours in, but you get underpaid. Silent singer, in this case, is her. She's talking about herself as silent singer.
Underpaid, thinks an
office is a coffin. A musician is related to creativity. An artist. A musician is an artist of some sort. An office is a coffin. For a musician, yeah, I guess so, because an office and a desk job is very boring, very monotonous, very mathematical, very boring. Typing in a spreadsheet, typing in a document, submitting documents. It's very suffocating for a musician that has a lot of creativity to be stuck in something that's very repetitive, the same and over and over and over again, doesn't change. This is probably referring to her thinking that an office is a coffin.
Coffin until office where
you laid off. Playing the words laid off, pretty obvious, but it's a pretty cool way of playing on the word actually. Until office where you're laid to rest, you're laid away.
You're laid, yet a thought persists, an optimist who ought.
Yet a thought persists, an optimist who ought to be afraid. Yet a thought persists, an optimist who ought to be afraid. Should I stop here? No. Right, okay. An optimist who ought to be afraid. The thought persists. So again, she's thinking about this, overthinking about this. She's probably thinking about her past as being too optimistic. She's probably in her past. It's weird because she's pessimistic. She's kind of going through all these kind of different emotions, being pessimistic, being optimistic. She's probably saying, I used to be an optimist, but I should have been afraid. Because yeah, at that point she's probably thinking, great, I'm a musician, I'm making it big in the city. But now she looks back on that past, she's like, I should have been a bit more afraid. I should have been a bit tempered down. My optimism should be a bit tempered with the fear of possibly, failing to make it.
To be afraid, saw the nothing wrong
Songs
behind
a lonely shade. Okay. thinking about writing songs, she talked about her past. I used to think, she's just saying, I used to think that there was nothing wrong writing songs by myself behind the lonely shade by myself.
Yet I thought persistent optimist you ought to be afraid. Saw the nothing wrong in writing.
Saw the nothing wrong. Yeah, nothing wrong. She thought, no, there's nothing wrong. Her past self thought there's nothing wrong with me writing songs by myself. What's wrong with that?
Behind the lonely shade, is the world a sadder place without?
Is the world a sadder place without the words that you conveyed? Was it worth me going through that effort of writing these songs, writing these words out, and making this music? Would the world be a sadder place without it? She's really thinking about what effect she used to have at that point in her life. Did it have any meaning? Was there any reason? Was there a higher purpose? Did I affect anybody? Did I make people happy? Did I make people sad? Did I affect the world? Was the world any sadder without me? Was it happier without me? She's very much questioning herself and her past.
The words that you conveyed.
She's also listening to the very same MP3 player that was shown in the very beginning.
When the ladder fell and shattered every bar that
When the ladder fell and shattered every bar that we had played.
we had played.
Right. When the ladder fell and shattered, and she climbed up. Again, she's probably referring to the fall. Every bit of she put a lot of effort into things. She kept falling. The ladder kept shattering beneath her. At every bar that we had played. Again, she's referring to what I assumed earlier. She played in a city. She played in a bar, live gigs. She probably put a lot of effort into them, but nothing came of it. No fruit came out of it. Nothing, significant that helped her in her career came out of it.
Does it matter in the end? The sound diminished and
Does it matter in the end? The sound diminished and decayed.
and your friends grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they had.
Okay, this one hits hard. Does it matter in the end?
Does it matter in without the words that diminished and decayed? When the ladder fell and shattered every bar that we had played? Does it matter
Does it matter in the end?
in the end? The sound diminished
The sound diminished and
and
decayed.
decayed. And
Your friends grew tired of
your friends grew tired of fantasy.
You're wishing they had stayed.
We had played. Does it matter in
Does it matter in the end? They're pretty obvious, not really much of a hard question. Doesn't matter in the end? Question mark. Just stick a question mark to the end of that lyric and then you got your question. She's asking herself, does it matter in the end?
the sound diminished?
The sound diminished and decayed. She fell off the ladder. Probably started losing hope at some point. She probably was pretty resilient as a person, but it's only so much a person can take. The sound diminished and decayed. Her singing started to become listless, started to become sad, some feeling like there was no point. She started becoming depressed, essentially.
And decayed.
Or some form. I'm not saying she did become depressed. I'm saying she fell into some kind of slight sadness or something similar. Your friends grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they had stayed. Your friends grew tired of fantasy. Your friends started giving up in the big crazy dream that she was talking about earlier. She described it as a crazy dream. Your friends grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they'd stayed. They had left. She said before, what's the point of making friends if they're not there until the very end? So this is where she's showing they left because of her crazy dream. She probably had musician friends, like most musicians do, and they probably were struggling along with her, and then they gave up because they were like, I probably should get a stable job. Real life hits hard. You need money to survive. The friends, grew tired of the fantasy of them making it big in the music industry and left. They went to get real jobs, and you're wishing they had stayed. She's saying, I wish they're still with me, because no one wants to see their friends walk down and give up on a dream.
And your friends grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they had stayed. You don't get to say I miss you. You watch your heroes fade into the rear view mirror of the villain you portray.
Okay. Very deep. Okay.
Matter in the end, the sound diminished and decayed. And your friends grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they had stayed. You
don't get to say I miss you. She's being pessimistic with herself again. You don't get to say I miss you. She's accusing herself. You don't get to say that. It's like two versions of herself are like warring in her mind here about her past.
get to say I miss you. You watch
You don't get to say I miss you. You watched your heroes
your heroes fade
into the rear view mirror of the villain you portrayed. I'm going to assume the villain she's portraying is Mori Calliope. Clearly she is talking about her real life self in this song and not entirely just about Mori. Into the rear view mirror of the villain you portray. She portrays the villain, Calliope Mori, the Reaper. Probably in the car. She's referring to a car.
grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they had stayed. You don't get to say I miss you.
You watched your heroes fade. She's probably talking about artists that inspired her or were smaller than her. She probably liked underground music of some sort. A lot of artists don't get appreciated for what they do. There's certain people who really appreciate this small artist, who really like this small artist. And now that she's made it big, she's probably feeling some kind of guilt because, you know, she loves these artists. These artists are her inspiration, something that she loves. But she knows now that they're maybe not as famous as her, maybe not as popular as her, with her millions and upon millions and thousands upon thousands of likes and viewers.
Watch your heroes fade into the rear view mirror of the villain you portrayed. Stop the pity party, listen, you don't
Stop the pity party, listen.
get to be dismayed. You don't get to be emotional, you're blessed you got it made. These the best of years of life because you chose to make a trade. Recollect the days you hoped and you prayed for this. What is that a man?
Okay, this is her other side warring against her. Stop the pity party. Stop. Basically, she's her other side's like slapping her in the face and saying, "Stop talking about this. Stop saying that you've overtaken these heroes and that you're the villain. Stop saying that you're now the villain of the story.
Listen,
You don't get to be dismayed. You don't get to look back at this sadly. You shouldn't be allowed to look back at this sadly.
get to be dismayed.
You don't get to be emotional. Emotional not as in like, you know, destroy all emotion. It's more so the sad emotion or the guilt.
Be emotional, you're blessed you got
Well, bless you got it made. She's probably making bank. That's probably the best way of putting it. Feel blessed you got it made. She's living life right now. I think most people, a lot of musicians, and she probably knows it herself. This video shows evidence of that. That a lot of people would love to be in the position that she's in. You know, being extremely popular, being able to make music. I think she's part of the Universal Music Group now as well. She's made it really big in the music industry. Her alternate self is kind of flat on her face. You can even see it here. She's got a reflection of herself in this bit of animation, like two faces of herself.
it made.
These are the best 2 years of life. These are going to be the best years of your life. She probably thinks this is probably one of the best highlights of her life, being a VTuber, getting millions of followers, having plenty of people love her music. These are best years of life. I think any musician at this point would love this. Millions of people, thousands of people loving it. What musician wouldn't love that? These would be the best years of your life.
Years of life
because you chose to make a trade. She chose to throw all her eggs in one basket called Hololive, and you know,
to make a trade.
Recollect
the days you hoped and you prayed for.
You hoped and prayed for. What is there to miss? Yeah. Recollect the days that when she was poor, or when she was unrecognized, when she wasn't known, when she was struggling. Recollect the time where you begged, where you really wished for this. You wished for this. Again, reference to the grass is always greener on the other side. Her past self would have given anything to have what her present self has, and her present self would give anything to go back to what her past self had, because she wished she could change the past. You see, the grass is always greener on the other side concept coming through this song. Now to the music. That was a good chunk of lyric. We're gonna go chunk through the instrumental now from here. First thing we cut out is that still that synthesizer just bum 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 bum.
It's a coffin until office where you're laid. Yet a thought persistent optimist who ought to be afraid. Saw them nothing wrong in writing songs behind a lonely shade. Is the world sad at place without the words that you conveyed when the ladder fell and shattered?
The piano came back.
Every bar that we had played, does it matter in the end? The sound diminished and decayed. And your friends grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they had stayed. You don't get to say I miss you. You watch your heroes fade into the rear view mirror of the villain you portrayed. Stop the pity party. Listen, you don't get to be dismayed. You don't get to be emotional. You're blessed you got it made. These the best of years of life because you chose to make a trade. Recollect the days you hoped and you prayed for this. What is that?
Small ad-libs. Very small ad-libs from the piano. Bum bum. 3-note ad-libs coming in from the piano. Back to the introduction piano. Bum bum. We're about to start the chord sequence again. Repetition of the second, third verse.
There's nothing left back there for me. Pretend it's the end of a made-up story.
Stop. Let's go on to the chorus. Similar, but again, people would see this as repetition, but the lyrics do slightly change.
Make a trade, recollect the
Fade in, fade out. This hazy dream. hazy. She's describing the same thing with slightly different words. I'm not going to comment on the instrumental this time before I start launching into the lyrics because, again, the dissonance comes back here. The piano's got this weird clashing stuff going on with some of the other instruments. We're going to purely focus on the lyric changes in this part. Without direction. Roaming aimlessly. By the direction she's referring again, no goal, daydreaming a lot, but there's no solid goal for her to aim towards. She's roaming aimlessly through these daydreams. Nothing left back there for me. Again, she's referring to herself, talking to herself, being like, there's nothing there for me, it's the past, I can't change that, there's no point in looking back there anymore. Pretend it's the end of a made-up story. She probably is trying to move past and move on from this. That's what, again, we're going to refer to the end of a life title. Pretend it's the end of a made-up story. You're telling yourself now, just pretend that the ending to her past life is just a made-up story. Just pretend it was all a made-up story. Stop focusing on it so much. Just pretend it was a story of the past that you can ignore now. Back to the sax coming in there. I can hear it. Having fun time in the solo. Right, I'll say goodbye to the soul inside. She's now kind of made this, it's kind of a bit of a story. The first part she didn't say they were talking about a soul. Second part she questioned if there was a soul, and now in this final repeat she's saying, I'll say goodbye to the soul inside. She's saying goodbye to her past. She's cutting it off and she's going to try and move on from it. She'll always remember it, but she'll try and, maybe not so hyper fixate on it. I'm going to focus on these wee background lyrics because the rave image is coming back. I'll say goodbye to the soul inside, yet somehow there is romance and our self-hate. You've got no chance? I assume that says no chance? We've got no chance? That doesn't make sense. Typo question mark? It could be possibly no chance. It says no. She seems to say no. We've got no chance. It seems to make more sense. I'm just going to assume it's no and not now. Kelly, if you're watching this, typo. In this light maze. Okay. Yet somehow there was romance. She's probably now going to small bits in her past. Yet somehow back then there was love. There was stuff that she liked, stuff that she loved. In her self-hate, she probably self-loathed herself, as evidenced by the starting lyrics about, possibly jumping off a building or being saved by somebody. In our self-hate, she's describing that. We've got no chance, in quotation marks. She's probably referring to her past, saying, we've got no chance, there's no way we're going to make it big. In this light maze, the city. But let's hold hands. Let me bring my friends along with me. Let us support each other. Through the night haze. When it's nighttime in the city, you've got this haze of bright, harsh lights, I assume. We'll run so fast. We'll run forward. We'll run forward recklessly, blindly, and we'll try our hardest to make it. Tell the school chime. School chime marks the end of the day, as most kids would know. It marks the end of a dream. In this case, is referring to marking the end of the day, maybe marking the end of her dreams, or some sort. Till the train runs. It's time till the train runs and the train leaves. You can't run up to catch the train, you gotta catch the train. When the train leaves, it's the end. We know it's time. We're the sane ones. We know it's time. We're the sane ones. Maybe her friends are saying this to her, being like, you know, we're not insane. You're a bit crazy for chasing your dream. We're the sane ones. We're gonna go, you know, give up on our dream and try and live a stable life. Waking up now to the real life, out of her daydream. She's now waking up as Calliope Mori again. Calliope Mori into the present of her, you know, life now. Let me daydream till the next night. Let me daydream till the next night. Let me think about this. Let me, you know, daydream about my past some more. I don't want to leave it behind until the next night. I'll keep waiting till the next night where she can go to sleep and dream about it. She wants to daydream and dream about it. I'll keep waiting. Right, and we'll check the instrumental at this point. Doing this actual thing herself, wordless singing. Saxophone's very problem here. Is having the fun kind of like she has to get away the place. The chords are no longer being played on the piano, they're playing on the synthesized piano. Instead of a single note that was starting in the start, in the middle, and the beginning and the end, where it's just a single note, bum, bum, we've got the chord now coming in that clashing notes, but this time without the fade in, fade out lyrics. Very clear now that they're going clashing a lot.
Waking up now to my real life, let me daydream. So the next flight, drowning so long, I got older. Now the crowd's gone. Is it over? Is it over?
Before I analyze that, there was a bit of lyric that I did take out from the back. I'll keep waiting for you, keep waiting for a pass. Just double check I haven't missed anything before I go to the very end here. Did I miss something?
Waking up now to my real life, let me daydream.
Right, waking up now to my...
Waking up now to my...
Waking up to my real life, waking up to the present. Out of the daydream, or maybe out of her sleep, out of the dream.
Real life,
let me daydream. Maybe she came out of her dream, and it doesn't really matter. She's referring to falling out of the dream or her daydream. She wants to daydream more till the next flight, till it's time to go. Again, the flight, you have to catch a flight. When it leaves, it's gone. You're never catching it again. So till the next flight, which is to her cutoff point, to the time where she needs to do something new.
So the next flight, drowning so long, I got old.
Drowning so long. She's probably drowning in this daydream, drowning in all these thoughts. She's drowned for so long thinking about it. She's been drowning in all these memories, all these what ifs, all these pasts, all these alternate timelines.
Older, now the crowd's gone.
I got older.
Is it over?
I got older. Now the crowd's gone. Is it over? I got older. Clearly referencing the past present thing. I've gotten older now. I'm more wise.
So long, I got older.
Now the crowd's gone. Maybe the city is left. Maybe the old places used to be. Maybe people have left there and there's no one there left in her past. Now she maybe went back there and there's nobody she recognizes anymore.
Now the crowd's gone. Is it?
Now the crowd's gone. Is it over? Is her past over? Is everything back then? Has it all ended now? Can she never go back?
Is it over?
She repeats the question. Is it over? Is it truly the end? Got out of the music. Woo! Now, that was a massively long video, I believe. How long have I been recording? That's an hour. I apologize for the extra long video, but I had to skip a day because I was busy. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of this really, really deep, in-depth dive into Calliope's Mori's End of a Life. I give this song a whopping 10 out of 10 because this song really resonates with me as a musician, and I'm biased like that. Music's subjective. Give your guys' thoughts and opinions down below. What do you think of my interpretation? I have to disclaim that it's not entirely, Mori's the only one that knows the true meaning of all these lyrics. I don't. I'm just interpreting them for possibly for you guys to understand better. Anyways, that is all from me today. This is an extra long video, so you guys, I got to skip a day for this one. Anyways, I'll see you guys all later in the next video. Catch you all later.